California has some of the most insane laws and facts you've ever heard, and I'm about to prove that truth is stranger than fiction. From animals on birth control to stones that move by themselves, these 50 facts will make you question everything you thought you knew about the Golden State. At number 50, we're starting with something absolutely ridiculous. Ray Bradbury, one of the most famous science fiction writers in history, lived in Los Angeles for 78 years. But here's the kicker that'll blow your mind about this literary genius. Despite living in the car capital of America, this man never once learned how to drive. He relied entirely on public transportation and friends for nearly 8 decades in LA. Imagine writing about futuristic technology but refusing to operate a basic automobile. Coming in at number 49 is a law so specific it makes you wonder what happened to create it. The city of Glendale has an actual ordinance about when you can watch horror movies. This isn't some urban legend, it's real legislation. Theaters in Glendale can only show horror films on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. If you want to catch a scary movie on the weekend, you're completely out of luck. Someone really didn't want Friday night frights happening in their town. Number 48 is where things get truly bizarre, with California's obsession with regulating everything. There's an actual state law about animal reproduction that sounds like someone made it up as a joke, but it's been on the books for decades. Animals are legally banned from mating publicly within 1,500 feet of a school, tavern, or place of worship. Think about the absurdity of enforcing this law. Who's out there measuring distances and policing animal behavior with a tape measure and clipboard? At number 47, Blythe, California has a law that's so oddly specific it'll make you laugh out loud. This one involves cowboy boots and livestock ownership. The connection between the two will absolutely stun you when you hear it. In Blythe, it's completely illegal to wear cowboy boots unless you actually own at least 2 cows. Someone apparently thought fashion cowboys were such a problem they needed legal intervention. Imagine getting a citation for your footwear choices. Number 46 takes us to Berkeley, where they've regulated something as innocent as calling for your pet bird. This law has a very specific time restriction that makes absolutely zero sense. Early morning canary owners, beware of this one. You cannot whistle for your lost canary before 7 in the morning in Berkeley. The city apparently decided that dawn bird calling was too disruptive for the neighborhood. Your missing pet will just have to wait until a reasonable hour. At spot 45, we're shifting from weird laws to weird traditions that sound completely made up. Long Beach hosts an event every summer that transforms the entire city into something from a swashbuckling adventure movie. Thousands of people participate annually. Long Beach throws a massive pirate invasion festival where thousands of people dress up as pirates and take over the city. We're talking full costumes, fake ships, and pirate-themed chaos everywhere you look. Modern-day pirates are apparently alive and well in California. Coming in at number 44 is one of the grossest tourist attractions you'll ever hear about. San Luis Obispo has turned public vandalism into a celebrated landmark. People actually travel from around the world to see this disgusting spectacle. Bubblegum Alley is a 70-foot-long passageway completely covered in chewed gum from floor to ceiling. Thousands of tourists come specifically to add their own saliva-covered gum to the walls. It's simultaneously revolting and fascinating to witness in person. Number 43 brings us to Baker, California, home to something so ridiculously oversized it entered the record books. This desert town decided to build a monument to heat itself. The result is visible from miles away on the highway. Baker has the world's largest thermometer, standing at 134 feet tall. They built it to commemorate Death Valley's record-breaking heat. Imagine the conversation where someone said, "Let's build a giant thermometer," and everyone just agreed. At number 42, California proves that democracy can produce some truly unexpected results. The tiny town of Sunol decided to hold a mayoral election in 1981. The winner shocked absolutely everyone who thought politics was just for humans. A dog named Bosco Ramos was elected mayor and served for 13 years. This wasn't a joke or publicity stunt. He was the actual official mayor with regular duties. Bosco proved that sometimes a good boy makes better leadership decisions than people do. Number 41 is where nature and Hollywood collide in the most unexpected way possible. Catalina Island has a herd of massive bison that shouldn't even exist there. The reason they're there sounds like complete fiction, but it's documented history. 90 years ago, bison were brought to the island for a movie shoot and then just left behind. They bred so successfully that the population exploded out of control. Now these giant animals have been put on birth control to manage their numbers. At spot 40, Santa Cruz hosts one of the strangest natural phenomena you'll ever experience. The mystery spot is a place where the fundamental laws of physics appear to completely break down. Scientists still argue about what's actually happening there. Objects appear to roll uphill. People stand at impossible angles, and gravity seems to work sideways. It's either a gravitational anomaly or an elaborate optical illusion. Either way, thousands of confused visitors leave questioning everything they know about science. Number 39 reveals that California's snow can be completely different from what you'd expect. The Sierra Nevada mountains produce something in summer that sounds like a dessert flavor. When hikers first see it, they often think they're hallucinating. Watermelon snow appears bright red or pink across the mountain peaks. It's caused by cold-loving algae that thrive in frozen conditions. The snow is technically edible but tastes terrible, disappointing anyone hoping for actual watermelon-flavored precipitation. Coming in at number 38, California has trees that look like they're from a horror movie. These albino redwoods are called ghost trees because they're completely white. The way they survive is absolutely mind-blowing and slightly disturbing. Ghost trees lack chlorophyll entirely, so they can't photosynthesize like normal plants. Instead, they survive by parasitizing the root systems of healthy neighboring redwoods. They're essentially vampire trees, stealing nutrients to stay alive despite being botanical anomalies. At number 37, Death Valley presents one of Earth's greatest unsolved mysteries. Massive rocks move across the desert floor, leaving long trails behind them. For decades, nobody could explain how stones weighing hundreds of pounds traveled by themselves. The sailing stones of racetrack playa finally had their secret revealed in 2014 using time-lapse cameras. Thin ice sheets form overnight, and wind pushes them across the slick mud surface. Nature created the perfect conditions for rocks to apparently walk. Number 36 takes us to San Francisco's most famous street that drivers absolutely dread. Lombard Street was engineered with 8 hairpin turns in a single block. The reason behind this insane design is actually pretty clever when you learn it. The street was so steep that cars couldn't safely drive straight down, so engineers created the switchbacks to reduce the grade. Now it's one of the world's most crooked streets, and a major tourist attraction. Locals hate the constant traffic jams it causes. At spot 35, California claims ownership of America's official national Christmas tree. This isn't some recently planted decoration. It's been holding the title since 1925. The sheer size of this tree is absolutely staggering. A 300-foot sequoia in Kings Canyon National Park serves as the nation's Christmas tree. It's so massive that regular ornaments would look like specks on its branches. This living monument has celebrated nearly a century of American Christmases. Number 34 introduces us to one of the most bizarre houses ever constructed. Sarah Winchester spent decades building a mansion in San Jose, designed to confuse spirits. The architectural chaos she created defies all logic and reason. The Winchester Mystery House has 160 rooms, 47 fireplaces, and staircases that lead directly into ceilings. She believed constant construction would keep vengeful ghosts lost forever. The result is a labyrinth that confuses living visitors just as much. Coming in at number 33 is irony at its finest. The beloved Christmas song Let It Snow was written in California during the summer. The circumstances under which it was created make the whole thing even more ridiculous. Songwriters penned this winter classic in July on the hottest day ever recorded in California. They were sweating profusely while writing about snowflakes and cozy fires. Sometimes the best winter songs come from people desperately wishing for cold weather. At number 32, Hollywood has a museum dedicated entirely to something most people avoid thinking about. The Museum of Death features exhibits that would make the average person extremely uncomfortable. It's not for the faint of heart or weak of stomach. Inside, you'll find displays about serial killers, mortuary practices, and death in all its forms. They have actual crime scene photos and execution equipment. Somehow, this morbid collection attracts thousands of curious visitors who want to confront their mortality. Number 31 celebrates California's agricultural dominance in the most unexpected category. Fallbrook produces so much of one specific fruit that it earned an official title. The quantity they grow annually is almost impossible to comprehend. Fallbrook is known as the avocado capital of the world. The region's perfect climate and soil conditions create ideal growing environments. Your overpriced avocado toast probably contains fruit that grew within miles of this small town. At spot 30, Fresno claims another food-related crown that might surprise you. Sun Made was founded in this central California city. The dried fruit industry here is absolutely massive and feeds people worldwide. Fresno is the raisin capital of the world. Those little boxes of raisins you ate as a kid almost certainly came from here. The region produces enough raisins annually to fill thousands of swimming pools if you wanted to swim in dried grapes. Number 29 takes us back to 1985 for a dessert achievement that sounds completely insane. Anaheim residents decided to break a world record in the most delicious way possible. The logistics of this event are mind-boggling. They created the world's largest ice cream sundae, stretching over 4 miles long. Imagine coordinating that much ice cream before it melts in California heat. The cleanup crew probably found sticky residue for months afterward in every corner of the city. Coming in at number 28, California gave the world one of fashion's most enduring staples. Levi Strauss invented blue jeans in San Francisco back in 1873. The original purpose for these pants was completely practical and work-focused. He designed them specifically for miners and factory workers who needed durable clothing that could withstand hard labor. Now those same work pants cost hundreds of dollars and are considered high fashion. Levi probably never imagined jeans becoming a global phenomenon. At number 27, we're debunking an assumption everyone makes about Chinese restaurants. Fortune cookies seem authentically Chinese, but they were actually invented right here in California. The real origin story surprises people every single time they hear it. Japanese immigrants in California created fortune cookies in the early 1900s. Chinese restaurants adopted them later, and now everyone associates them with Chinese cuisine. It's one of the most successful cases of cultural misattribution in food history. Number 26 proves that the best inventions come from childhood accidents. An 11-year-old kid in San Francisco left his drink outside overnight with a stick in it. What he discovered the next morning changed summer treats forever. The mixture froze with the stick perfectly positioned as a handle, creating the first popsicle ever. That accidental invention by a child became a multi-million-dollar industry. Sometimes the greatest innovations happen when kids forget to clean up their messes. At spot 25, California brought to life the doll that defined generations of childhoods. Mattel founders Ruth and Elliot Handler invented Barbie right here. This iconic toy revolutionized how children played and sparked countless controversies along the way. Barbie dolls were designed in California and became one of the most recognizable toys worldwide. Love her or hate her, Barbie's cultural impact is undeniable. She's been everything from an astronaut to a presidential candidate in her plastic lifetime. Number 24 introduces us to the birthplace of a sport that defines California culture. Skateboarding was invented when surfers wanted to replicate their ocean experience on land. The progression from those first boards to modern skate parks is incredible. California surfers literally created skateboarding as sidewalk surfing. During flat wave days, they took wooden boards, attached roller skate wheels, and started carving concrete. Now skateboarding is an Olympic sport, with its roots firmly planted in California innovation. Coming in at number 23, California created America's favorite salad dressing in the most humble location possible. Hidden Valley Ranch near Santa Barbara became the birthplace of ranch dressing. The original distribution method was absolutely bizarre for food products. Ranch dressing was invented in the 1950s and initially sold only by mail order. People loved it so much they'd wait weeks for packets to arrive. Now it's the most popular dressing in America and available in every grocery store imaginable. At number 22, In-N-Out Burger takes employee training to an extreme level. They actually created their own university for workers. The commitment to company culture goes way beyond typical fast food restaurant standards. In-N-Out University teaches employees proper management techniques and company values through formal classes. Graduates understand the secret menu, quality standards, and customer service philosophy. It's like getting a degree in burger excellence from an accredited institution. Number 21 reveals San Francisco's surprising status in pet ownership statistics. The city has more dogs per capita than anywhere else in America. The numbers are absolutely staggering when you consider the city's human population density. San Francisco has between 125,000 and 150,000 dogs. That's roughly 1 dog for every 6 humans in the city. Walking down the street, you'll see more dogs than children in many neighborhoods. At spot 20, California protects the identity of the world's tallest living thing with extreme secrecy. Hyperion is a redwood tree standing at 380.1 feet tall. Park officials refuse to reveal its location for very good reasons. The tree's location in Redwood National Park remains classified to protect it from tourist damage. People would carve initials, trample roots, and destroy the surrounding ecosystem just for selfies. Sometimes the best way to preserve nature is keeping it hidden. Number 19 introduces us to the absolute unit of the tree world. General Sherman in Sequoia National Park isn't the tallest, but it's the largest tree by volume. The weight of this single living organism is almost incomprehensible. General Sherman weighs approximately 2.7 million pounds. That's heavier than 10 fully loaded 747 airplanes. Standing next to it makes you feel like an insignificant speck in comparison to this ancient living monument. Coming in at number 18 is a tragic piece of California history that most people don't know. California was called the Bear State because of California grizzly bears. The state flag still features one, but there's a dark truth about their fate. California grizzlies were hunted to complete extinction by 1922. The last known bear was killed, and now they exist only on the state flag and in historical records. California eliminated the very animal that gave it its nickname. At number 17, California accidentally created one of its largest bodies of water through engineering failure. The Salton Sea wasn't supposed to exist at all. What started as a disaster became a strange tourist destination, an ecological experiment. In 1905, the Colorado River flooded and filled a desert basin for 2 years straight. Engineers couldn't stop it, so California suddenly had a massive accidental sea. Now it's a surreal landscape of abandoned resorts and environmental concerns. Number 16 shows how pollution can eventually become beautiful through natural processes. Fort Bragg has a beach made entirely of colorful glass pieces. The origin of this glass reveals decades of environmental carelessness that somehow created art. For years, people dumped bottles into the ocean near Fort Bragg. The waves polished the broken glass into smooth, colorful pebbles over time. Now Glass Beach is a protected area where tourists collect the beautiful remnants of past pollution. At spot 15, Angels Camp hosts an annual competition inspired by classic American literature. Since 1928, they've been jumping frogs for distance. Mark Twain's famous story became the foundation for this weird tradition. The Frog Jumping Championship attracts competitors from around the world. The current record stands at 21 feet for a single jump. Somewhere, Mark Twain is probably laughing at how his short story created a century-long sporting event. Number 14 takes us to Chico, home of the National Yo-Yo Museum. They don't just display regular yo-yos in glass cases. They have a working yo-yo, so massive it required engineering expertise to construct properly. The world's largest working yo-yo measures 50 inches tall and weighs 256 pounds. It actually functions and can go up and down when operated correctly. Someone looked at a child's toy and decided it needed to be supersized. Coming in at number 13, San Jose offers a gaming experience that brings childhood board games to life. They created a life-sized version of Monopoly, complete with giant pieces. The rental process and gameplay are surprisingly official and organized. You can rent this massive Monopoly game and play with an actual referee who enforces rules. Imagine passing go and collecting $200 while walking around a giant board. It's the ultimate nostalgia experience for people who love classic games. At number 12, the Hollywood sign has origins that completely contradict its current meaning. Originally it read Hollywoodland, when erected in 1923. The purpose behind this iconic landmark was purely commercial and temporary. It was nothing more than a real estate advertisement meant to last 18 months. The sign became so famous they kept it and eventually dropped the land portion. Now it's one of the world's most photographed landmarks, despite starting as glorified marketing. Number 11 reveals one of Yosemite's most spectacular and dangerous traditions. For nearly a century, Glacier Point hosted the Firefall event every night. What they did sounds absolutely insane by modern safety standards and environmental regulations. Workers pushed burning embers off the cliff, creating a waterfall of fire cascading down. Thousands gathered nightly to watch this spectacular and completely reckless display. The tradition ended in 1968 when officials realized how dangerous it was. At spot 10, Death Valley holds a temperature record that might never be broken. On July 10, 1913, thermometers recorded 134.1 degrees Fahrenheit. This remains Earth's hottest reliably measured temperature ever documented. Standing outside in Death Valley during summer feels like opening an oven door directly into your face. The heat is so intense that exposed skin burns within minutes. This is genuinely one of the most hostile environments for human survival on the planet. Number 9 reveals a disturbing truth about California's prison system costs. Incarcerating a single prisoner for 1 year costs roughly $44,500. That's almost identical to Harvard's annual tuition, which creates an uncomfortable comparison. California spends as much locking someone up as Harvard charges for education. The state could literally send prisoners to Ivy League schools for the same price. These numbers highlight serious questions about budget priorities and criminal justice reform. Coming in at number 8, California briefly became its own independent nation. In 1846, the California Republic existed for exactly 25 days. This short-lived country had its own flag, government, and Declaration of Independence. American settlers declared independence from Mexico and raised the Bear flag. Less than a month later, the United States took over during the Mexican-American War. California's independence lasted barely longer than a typical vacation. At number 7, California became the birthplace of the modern internet. In 1969, the first ARPANET message was sent between universities. The inaugural transmission was supposed to be momentous, but technical difficulties created an ironic beginning. The first message was supposed to be login, but the system crashed after just the letters low. The internet literally began with a failure and incomplete message. Now billions of people rely on technology that started with 2 letters and a computer crash. Number 6 showcases California's absolute dominance in a specific agricultural market. The state produces 80% of the entire world's almonds. Blue Diamond in Sacramento processes over 12 million pounds annually from regional farms. Your almond milk, almond butter, and whole almonds almost certainly came from California. The state's Mediterranean climate creates perfect growing conditions. California essentially has a monopoly on global almond production and supplies billions of nuts worldwide. At spot 5, California demonstrates geographic extremes that seem impossible. Mount Whitney is the highest point in the contiguous United States at 14,505 feet. Death Valley contains the lowest point at 282 feet below sea level. These two extreme points are only 85 miles apart from each other. You can literally see the highest and lowest elevations in one-day trip. The dramatic elevation change over such short distance is geologically remarkable and visually stunning. Number 4 puts California's economic power into shocking perspective. If California became an independent country, its economy would rank 5th largest in the entire world. That puts it between economic powerhouses Germany and India on global rankings. California alone generates more wealth than most countries. The state's GDP exceeds $3 trillion annually. One American state has more economic influence than 190 sovereign nations, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Coming in at number 3, California's name comes from complete fiction. A 1510 Spanish novel called Las Sergas de Esplandian featured a mythical island. Conquistadors thought they found that fictional place and named it accordingly. The novel described an island ruled by Queen Calafia, with warrior women and mythical creatures. Spanish explorers believed Baja California matched this description. They literally named a real place after fantasy literature, without realizing their mistake. At number 2, California's population exceeds an entire country. Over 39 million people call California home. That's more residents than all of Canada combined, making California home to 12% of all Americans. So, if everyone in California left and formed their own country, it would be the 36th most populous nation. The state has more people than countries like Poland, Morocco, or Peru. One state contains enough people to rival major world populations. And finally, coming in at number 1, the San Andreas Fault represents California's greatest existential threat. This massive geological feature stretches over 800 miles long and plunges 10 miles deep. The statistics about earthquake activity are absolutely terrifying. California experiences over 100,000 earthquakes every single year, though most are too small to feel. Scientists predict the big one will strike within the next 30 years. That massive quake could fundamentally reshape the entire state and change millions of lives forever.